Ebbi, hot off the SummerSlam post-show debut. Welcome to the North-South Connection Bad Blood preview. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we are here to preview Bayley versus your WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax. Overall, what's your feeling on Nia Jax's title reign so far?
I'm enjoying it. I'm having a really good time. I worried that things were going to be lackluster with how Nia's title reign was first time around, back when she won at Mania against Alexa Bliss. I was worried that this
weird.
Yeah. I was worried it was going to be a little boring. I was worried it was going to be a snooze fest, but I'm having a really good time, especially with this like Nia Tiffany dynamic here that we get to see play out. I'm having a great time.
So far is that Nia is like honing into her past championship, right? So she was champion from Mania 35 to about Money in the Bank. So call that 3 to 4 months tops, right? So she had success, taste of the gold. And now that she has the taste of the gold, she's kind of put her bitch face back on, right? And she's all about the business, right? So and it all about the business, about keeping that strap around her shoulder, right? And she perhaps is using Tiffany Stratton as a peg to keep that strap around her shoulder, because also Tiffany Stratton carries the Money in the Bank, which makes her a vulnerable champion. So let's keep our potential enemies closer than farther away, right? Or behind us or whatever, so we can keep an eye on them, so to speak. But I like that Nia Jax, the wily veteran, has the gold for the second time, and she instantly changed her attitude to being a little loose and fun-loving, to being like, nah, I'm the baddest bitch around, and this strap is staying with me because I've had this before. I know what it's like to have it, and I know what it's like not to have it. And when you have it, you have all the power, and it's staying with me pretty much. So I like that tone from Nia so far.
I'm enjoying it. I feel like I feel this guttural feeling that there's something very sneaky going on here. As I've discussed a few times with the other members of the Familia, I have this very strong feeling, especially since Nia was the one who gifted Tiffany her briefcase. I have a feeling that contract's not in the briefcase.
Oh, really? So Stratton would kind of go to cash it in, and it would be like fool's gold kind of in a way, right?
I feel like she's gonna go to cash it in. She's gonna get the pin.
Oh, you're gonna go all the way with
she's gonna be announced as champ, and they're gonna open that briefcase, and there's not gonna be nothing in it.
So that would be that would be a 2024 female version of a Dusty finish, where they give you the title, they give you the ring bell, they give you everything, and they take it away. That's cute. Yeah. I kind of like that. I don't know if I like going all the way with it, of being like, wow, Tiffany wins, and then they instantly take it away. But I like the sentiment of presenting the briefcase, but they've never opened up the briefcase, so they have to go through with it, right? Like, what referee would open? That's too hokey, because they've never done that before, right? They've never opened up the briefcase.
They've never done it before, but
so you gotta have to go through with it. Yeah,
I could see it playing out. They announce her as champion. She gets her belt. She's walking back to the room, and then all of a sudden, like, Nia Jax is charging over towards to get a microphone, and she's like, wait. Yeah, there's no contract in there.
Yeah, it seems like you need a third cog in there to reveal it, right?
Oh yeah, I feel like something sneaky is going on here. Because like, if there wasn't, I couldn't see Nia treating Tiffany the way that she has been as of recently. Because she's been real rough with her.
Well, yeah, she's champ now, so it's kind of like that that kind of goes to the character change earlier that we talked about, right? She could be playing chess and be 2 steps past Tiffany, right? She's using Tiffany in the current, and she's blocking her in the future. So I've come around on it. I think that's a really cute idea. I thought it was a little too cute, but I thought it was fun. But I like it. I think that could totally work, and I think that it wouldn't take away from Tiffany eventually winning it, because she could be presented it in a non-sneaky way, and that could be her ultimate babyface turn.
I've also been saying that I feel WWE went a little too hard with talking about the fact that there is a 100% success rate with the women's cash-in. I feel as if we might get a failed cash-in this year.
Yeah, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So this is the 7th women's Money in the Bank. And so they're 6 for 6. And it took till Cena to have a failed cash-in 2012. And that was about 10 or 11, right? So yeah, that was about 10 or 11, maybe even closer to 15 successful males. So yeah, why not? Yeah, interesting. All right. Now we're 6 minutes in. Is that a detriment to Bayley that we haven't talked about her yet?
Oh, Bayley.
Oh, Bayley.
A
little kudos to Nia Jax that we spent the focus around her as champion. But Bayley coming out of a lackluster title reign, and now she's presented as Nia Jax's this is Nia Jax's first pay-per-view match as women's champ in a rematch here with Bayley. Bayley had to go through some hoops to get to there. She was presented in a match with Naomi in a tag match versus Stratton and Nia, and the winner via pinfall would become the women's champion, the number one contender, the women's champion. And if they were to lose, they'd have to leave SmackDown, which could present Bayley in the future for something else, perhaps. And that led to a double pin, which led to last Friday night, Naomi versus Bayley, and Bayley becoming the number one contender in a pretty good match, right? It was a pretty decent match for the two. And now we are here. Now we are 7 minutes in, and we still haven't talked about Bayley and her direction within this company. So what's your feelings of Bayley October 2024 coming off Women's Royal Rumble winner, winning the belt at WrestleMania, losing it at SummerSlam? What's your thoughts on Bayley?
Thoughts on Bayley have been turbulent since her NXT debut. It has been back and forth. I despised Hugger Bayley. It was, and like, of course, at that time, like, I'm like 14, 15 years old at that point. So like all the cutesy, like super appealing to kids stuff was just like, ugh, to me.
Yeah, you're an edgy teen. Come on.
Oh yeah. But honestly, since the return of Bayley at SummerSlam a few years ago, I've been on the Bayley train. Out of the 4 horsewomen, I put Bayley at the number 1 spot. I feel she is the most well-rounded and gifted of them all. And I have enjoyed seeing Bayley come into her own now that there has been a complete separation with her and the other 3 of the 4 horsewomen. Becky is gone. Charlotte is on injury. Mercedes, Sasha is in a different company. I feel like this is really the story that we are getting, the way we are able to see Bayley blossom and bloom and kind of really come into her own. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I'm really enjoying it. But with that said, I don't think she's gonna win.
She shouldn't.
She
shouldn't win. I don't think so. Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. She's not going to win. I wonder what's next for her afterwards, though. It's like she's not the legacy of Bayley, right? The star power of Bayley. Her being presented in this match for Nia is good for Nia's reign. It'll be a peg in the machine, right? It's a trophy on the wall of her title reign to go out there and beat Bayley. She had an impressive win against Bayley at SummerSlam. I thought that was a pretty good match that we talked about in the post show, but a little forgotten about, right? And that's kind of been Bayley this year. Presented well, but kind of forgotten about and lacking substance and investment, to me anyways. So I don't know. I'm ready for what's next for Bayley, and I'm kind of more interested in the Nia Jax story of all of this. And yeah, I just see this being second on the card, being harmless, being heatless, and just being there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Honestly, I think probably the most excitable part about this match is Tiffany going to attempt to cash in. I think that's what's honestly got people on the edge of their seats the most about this entire situation. I think it's gonna be a pretty decent match.
Yeah.
Nia Jax has improved leaps and bounds, both in the ring and on the mic since her return. Bayley is just an all-around gifted talent. I think it'll be a decent match, but I don't think it'll be match of the night by far.
All right, we could get the moment of the night, perhaps. It's a loaded card, but
you get the moment of the night.
You hinted that perhaps we get a cash in. Do you suspect us to? Because I think we're gonna get a tease of one, but do you think we actually get one?
I think we might get an attempt.
Okay.
I do think we might get an attempt. I do think that at Bad Blood, we're really going to see the implosion of the alliance between Nia and Tiffany. I think it's all gonna come to an end at Bad Blood. At this point, it's I don't know where they go from there with that though. But I definitely am excited to see where things go next with both Nia and Tiffany and with Bayley as well. I'm ready to see what is the next chapter in each of their stories.
I kind of think that them throwing out 2 weeks ago that Bayley, if she were to lose, has to leave SmackDown with the CW starting up, right? And they're going to be, kind of hovering around the Performance Center, and they're going to want to spike those ratings, and they're going to throw a lot of new stars in there. Do you think it'd be beneficial for Bayley to go down to NXT and work with the Stephanie Vaccaros, or work with the Julias, work with the Roxanne Perez? Do you think that there's any substance there? Do you think that's more meaningful for Bayley in 2024 to do that, opposed to going to Raw and just finding herself wherever?
I think honestly the most meaningful thing for Bayley could be to just take some well-deserved time off and then come back new, refreshed. No one knows what she's gonna do, where she's gonna end up. Just a fresh start. It's like you've read a whole book and now you're starting the sequel. I think it's time for the sequel, but you got to take some time before we jump into this new book. I think from a standpoint of looking at the bigger picture, I do think, however, a Bayley going down to NXT does the women's NXT roster some good.
Like, look what Becky did, right, at this time last year. She went down there, she worked with a Tiffany, she worked with a Lyra, and she did some pretty big numbers down there and did some good business and got some girls ready for the main roster, really show what they can go out there and do and present to them, to the office or whoever, even the viewership, that these girls are the future. And with the investment of the women's division in NXT right now, could that be a decent spot for Bayley to go down there and do that? I think so. I don't think that a vacation's a bad idea, though. It's well earned.
Yeah, I've been thinking for a while, like, I think Bayley might be the ticket to get the likes of like a Sol Ruka to just be ready and just be at that point. It's like, she's in the oven, she's baking, she's not quite there yet.
Some Bayley dust on it.
Time to take her off. But I think if we sprinkle some Bayley dust on her, she'll be ready. I think Roxanne can use a bit of work on her promos, and I think Bayley can provide that extra sprinkle of help, because I do think it is time for another class of NXT come up, especially for the women's division. I think it's time, especially since, all the rumors have been lurking in the shadows of there being, for lack of a better word, mid-card title of some sorts for the women on the main roster. which I think is necessary. But I do think if that's going to happen, the women's division needs to be expanded a little bit. And I think if there's a slightly larger class of NXT come-ups I think it can work. I think it can be managed.
And honestly, the rehab would be to Bayley's character, because NXT is a rehabilitation more than developmental now. It's like a mix of both, really. If you like
Yeah.
what they did to Corbin, so to speak, right? Even though it didn't stick, but it rehabbed him and it gave him, and him down there did some good. Look what it did to Nia Jax before he left. So putting veterans down there has really rehabbed those veterans while they develop the younger people. So it's like a two different headed monster down there in NXT now, so to speak. But now in Bayley's character would need the rehab. We stick her on Raw. She's hovering around Damage Control. They're baby faces. What are we doing? We've been there, we've done that. Those girls need to stay away from Bayley.
We need to keep Bayley away from Damage Control,
yes.
And we need to keep Bayley away from anything for horsewomen s.
Yeah, let it one day for sure, but now no.
A day.
Right? All right, Ebbi. Nia Jax is the pick. I think we both agree there. But
oh yeah,
where can we find you as we get out of here? What you got going on?
Well, I am, of course, an active part of the Familia, as I mentioned earlier. I run all of our social medias. So if you're ever interacting with the Familia page on TikTok or on Facebook or Threads or X, formerly Twitter, it's me you're talking to. Hi.
Spoiler.
So I'm doing that. Of course, I have my own things that I'm doing that are on TikTok and on Instagram. I've leaned more into the political side of things because that's usually it's that time of year for me, and that's what I hammer down into is all the political stuff.
You.
But that's a lot of what I talk about right now on TikTok. We go back deep into the wrestling content as we get past election day and deeper into the year, and we start approaching Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is my favorite PLE of the year. It's what I look forward to even more than WrestleMania. I look forward to Royal Rumble. It's the one for me.
Don't blame you. Now Cleveland and Indiana, kind of close. Shall we see it?
You know, maybe it was a thought. But I genuinely enjoy watching from home.
It's a great live event. I've been to a few Rumbles. They're great live, but you can't go wrong at home. They're just as great. It's such a fun hour.
I enjoy listening to commentary. Mm-hmm. And that's, of course, is the key piece that's missing when you go see shows live.
Well, unless you buy a ticket right behind them, right?
Right.
You get $50,000 a square? That's what I saw, the $50,000 for 2 nights of WrestleMania for a front row ticket now. What are we doing?
It's crazy. But like I enjoy listening to commentary, especially now that Wade Barrett's on commentary. I've been really having a great time. I was the biggest Bad News Barrett fan like ever. Like the only
bad news.
Oh yeah, like the only person that like I go for harder than Wade Barrett is Sheamus. The only person.
I think you got to type it. English, Irish.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's Chrissy. We love Chrissy, the leader of the Familia. She's been trying to like poke at me to like start posting like some wedding content. Now I'm starting to get into like deep into planning and stuff, and I'm just like, we'll see what we do, but maybe. But I am on TikTok, I am on Instagram, and if you happen to come across my personal social medias via my TikTok and Instagram, feel free to give me a follow. I usually follow most people back. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm an influencer, I'm better than you. No, I'm not. I'll probably follow you back.
What are we doing? What are we doing with that, right? Like we can't take ourselves too serious. This is more of a hobby than not. But anyways, so what is it right there? 216 point beanie baby with 2 eyes at the end, right?
Yes.
All right. if you're an audio listener, not a visual listener. But if you are, you might want to come on here and check out the video, of course. Some perks, of course, right?
Absolutely. I think you're pretty nice to look at.
Oh, of course. They are. I'm sure
You,
they come on to look at me all the time, I'm sure. So, I mean, it was fun as always. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
of course.